So, ladies and gentlemen, I have someone you must have seen in a lot of movies. Rahul Dev is joining me for a quick conversation here on CNN News 18. Rahul, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you very much, man.
How do you feel right now? Like, you have done so many projects, you are coming up with huge projects. We were just talking about a period drama that you have been talking to Gippy Grewal about. What do you have to share with us about that?
About that, nothing. I mean, this is just telling you why I got delayed.
I
And
just
they'll
tried
kill me
getting some
personally,
scoop
or
out. I
my
don't
God,
think.
you journalists. All of you all are the same, man. I just, I trust a pleasant face, and this is what I get in return.
हमारा काम ही यही है जनाब
यार
आप
मत करिए, हमारी ऐसी बैंड मत बजाइए. अभी वन रही है ना. He'll come. The Duco's announcement will come. I mean, it's this month,
okay.
so obviously the announcement will come this month.
I just am running in the race. I just wanted to be first so that I can bring it to my
Well, you've
viewers.
already been first. Off the record, you've killed me. They'll all kill me personally.
Okay, Rahul, let me ask you the first question. You're a prominent figure in the entertainment industry. You have done more than 80 films, be it Hindi entertainment industry or the
Actually,
South Indian.
142 films there.
Yeah, I'm just giving estimated. So, we all have seen you work, all right? And when it comes to a villain role, you see, antagonist, in my times, I remember your face only. I have seen so many of your movies. I've seen you play so many different kind of roles throughout your journey in the entertainment industry. But then there came a time when you were nowhere. Like I couldn't see you anywhere. Like where did Rahul Dev go? Would you like to share something about why did that time came at all? What happened at that point of time? What was the
I
feeling?
lost my partner. She had cancer. So, 2009, it happened on the 16th of May. And then till 11, I completed whatever was ongoing. There were 13 projects that year we had. So, we completed the commitments to those 13. And my son was very small. So, then I left the business for about 4.5 years. And when
Okay.
I came back, it was just not the same. In the
Hmm.
sense like time had changed and so on and so forth. So, I even participated in something called the Bigg Boss,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
to sort of get back in. Um I think I was graced by my divine master, my spiritual master,
Mm-hmm.
Tarnev ji, I owe the coming back to him.
Hmm.
And here we are again, like it's a busy diary and going from one set to the other. So happy.
Good for you. Since you mentioned Big Boss, I really wanted to ask you this. A lot of people have this misconception about Big Boss. I don't know if that's true or not. I just wanted your confirmation on it. People call it either a career revival platform or a
Mhm.
platform for someone who has already seen an end of their journey in
Mhm.
an industry. So, how would you describe your journey in Big Boss and the opportunity that you get while you were there in Big Boss?
See, I think to each his own. I've seen a lot of contestants come and just go. That one particular year, they make something out of their lives. And so thankfully, that was not the case for me. I
Hmm.
came out and Endemol, who's the producer of that, was producing a series called The Test Case.
Hmm.
So we all met for it, and the channel was Alt. So it had Nimrit,
Yeah.
it had Atul Kulkarni,
Mm-hmm.
myself, and a whole sort of very good actors. Nagesh started the series,
Hmm.
and then it was from episode 2 onwards, it was directed by a very fine director called Vinay Vaiko.
Okay.
Ekta herself was helming it, the
Mm-hmm.
Ekta. So from there, then the next thing happened. I think after that, Mubaraka I did,
Yeah, yeah.
I did. So so everything was like your. See, primarily I'm an actor.
Hmm.
I'm not a reality actor or anything like that. You know what I mean? It was just
Hmm.
that,
Yeah.
like I mentioned. So I can't really say what happens to people. I mean, I don't observe that much. Frankly, the date diary doesn't allow also. I mean, I've not even caught up on a lot of good stuff that I want to personally. I just
Hmm.
saw Kohra, which was on my
Oh.
wish list for the very longest time.
Hmm.
One, fathers from the cop background, a celebrated cop, and two,
Hmm.
we are from the north. We are Punjabis. I'm
Hmm.
raised in Delhi,
Hmm.
born, brought up
Yeah.
there. My father's from Punjab, so on both the grounds, it had a lot of overlaps for me to watch it, and also, of course, you hear that's something is really nice, unusual, and a whole lot of unknown faces are together in it, except for the senior gentleman, Sadarji.
Hmm.
So things like that. So I mean, I don't look at life that way. I mean, to each is
Hmm.
what if you really sincerely want something. I don't think anyone is out there to sabotage your efforts or to come in the way. I mean, people are really forthright. They are, as long as they're convinced that they can place a certain amount of trust in you delivering a certain effort.
Hmm.
That's it.
Right. And are you following this season of Big Boss?
I have not followed any season, so don't ask me what. I mean, I just
Like,
mentioned it to you because in the sense that I mean, I remember the call when it came. I had said no to it 3, 4 times,
hmm.
and then I said yes to it because I think the divine force was with me, and he said that,
Hmm.
Rahul, that if you need to begin somewhere, you need to
Hmm.
begin somewhere. I mean, fine. I was 80 films old by then,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Hmm.
I'm 142 now. So obviously, it did good things for me.
Touch wood, touch
Uh,
wood.
then a whole lot of series
Hmm.
like there's. I did The Empire for Nikhil Advani. I did Adhura for him, his company, directed by Gaurav Chavla.
Hmm.
I mentioned the test case, which is a very fine opportunity. Ekta also gave me something called Love Scandal and Doctors, LSD. She gave me Who's Your Daddy? In fact, I got a Filmfare nomination for in those awards, for Best Actor Comedy of all
Hmm.
things, supporting. Then
Hmm.
Mubarak was a straight-faced, poker-faced, head of patriarchal head, but he had a little comic timing to it. In one particular scene, I remember on the table. So a whole lot of interesting things happened after that.
Hmm.
So for me,
Still
it
in.
was more like telling the business because see, there was no formal announcement. It's a very weird thing. I mean, I don't know. For me personally, I mean, you brought it up, so I mentioned. I mean, losing a partner is not the easiest thing in life.
Yeah.
Two, raising children
Hmm.
by yourself is also not an easy thing, especially when you have no hands-on experience. In the sense, like the roles were pretty divided. I mean, if you're 80 films old, when you
Hmm.
average out say 20, 25 films days to a film, then you average out some days for dubbing and promotion. So I was already 80 films old by then. 2000
Hmm.
December 22nd, Google will tell you I debuted. This happened in 2009. So nine
Yeah.
years to do that kind of work. How much are you
Hmm.
clocking? You're a very busy man. So if you're busy, then you hardly. And that time, it was not the era where people were trusting the green mat much because it was a negative.
Hmm.
You could hear
Right.
the camera krrrr, that sound.
Hmm.
Now it became
Hmm.
digital. It became easier, cheaper. Technology developed to do a lot of green mat stuff now. It
Hmm.
was mostly, I think, an attribution to the lockdown
Hmm.
primarily, where permissions were hard to come by when again Bombay got popular. Studios
Hmm.
got popular again to film. I
Yeah.
mean, prior to that, because of the traffic, price, and also not really to show up for any location unless it's a Bombay story. Now,
Hmm.
let's
Hmm.
say in the first 80 films, I mean, I can pinpointedly tell you 2 or 3 films I've shot in Bombay. I'll tell you which ones. I have shot Shaheed, which was basically a
Hmm.
film around Bhagat Singh.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
because there was a race going on between 3 films and everyone was doing set work mostly, except for
Yeah.
one big chunk of schedule in Nasik,
Oh.
everything was set.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
It
Okay.
doesn't look like that because of the cinematography of Thiru.
Hmm.
It's like a award winner. Then, other than that, footpath was a set.
Hmm.
It was talking about a footpath, but they constructed like a 3 kilometer set, and we shot
Oh.
the whole film start to end on the set. Then, even the bus accident in that is a set. So it had full traffic, I mean, a full busy road because it was part of the set, and you had cars,
Okay.
about over 100 vehicles, every day reporting for the 7-day climax. So things like that. So just 2 or 3 films, Bardash, which was the Bombay story, so it was placed in Bombay.
Hmm.
But the time was because it's like commercial format cinema, and it took me all across the globe. So I was
Hmm.
never really there for in terms of the progress when the child is born. It's like a flower, it needs nurturing, it needs, the manure, it needs the
Yeah.
fresh air, it needs a lot of
Hmm.
care, attention, and all of that. If I have to
Hmm.
say hands on, these are the subjects he would do. I would reckon because I'm educated, so so I did ICSE, ISE, and he was doing ICSE till a certain time, and then of course he went on to the international curriculum, IB and so on and
Hmm.
so forth. But
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, so it's more like that. But suppose if I was not educated, God forbid, then I don't think I would have had any clue in terms of, and also to run a home is not easy.
Yeah,
It's not
definitely.
easy.
And since you also mentioned the technological advancements in the industry, we have seen the Hollywood strike that happened. We recently saw the case of Rashmika Mandana, that how AI and deepfakes were used to,
Mhm.
disturb any individual out
I've not
using
followed
somebody
that
else.
story, but I saw an apology, a thing mentioned somewhere on social media, but I didn't follow the story. I've been like really hectic coming from one set to the other. So
Hmm.
really, if you see my Instagram also, I post about in like 6, 7 days something once.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
It's
But
not
in
really been there.
general, also, if we talk about the deep fakes that are currently being used, somebody else's video and then somebody
All that.
else's face is being used to morph those video, don't you think it's really scary and it's going to
Obviously,
cause
it is
some
scary.
harm
What is there to
to
think
the
about it?
industry?
It's a very
Yeah,
obvious thing, no, what you're saying. It is scary.
yeah, but like basically for the people in the public faces, for the entertainment
I think for
industry.
anybody, why public face? Why not a regular person? If they're being morphed and, if you have a neighbor, like when I was growing up, I remember
Hmm,
neighbors on both sides. If it was their family, my family, or the adjacent family, we were not in the movie business. It would
hmm,
equally harm me or my opportunities in life. If I have to get, I worked for telco. My first
hmm,
job was with them. So six
hmm,
months they deployed me as an engineer. So how would I, land a job? How would I land an admission in a college, for example, if I'm talking about different age groups? How would life be? It would be extremely, extremely excruciating and difficult. So what is there to say about this?
hmm,
Obviously, it's like a very obvious. It's, I don't even know what to answer to this.
right. Now, circling back to your movies, I know that you have played a very crucial role in Avara Pagal Divana also. I really liked your role. And we are hearing that it's in the making again. The remake is there. And were you
Is it?
approached for the... Yeah, it is.
No, I've not heard. At least officially, I've not heard anything from the producer. In fact, he had. He's approached me for that Welcome to the Jungle,
Yeah, that we know. That we know. We got the
but
information about that.
not
We will
anything
talk
on
about
Avara.
that in brief also. Well,
So
if you have
it's
already
strange,
initiated
I
the topic
just
further.
put a reel out somebody had made sweetly on Instagram and they asked me to share it. So my last post on my gram is a reel from Avara Bhagal Devana. So it's
Yeah,
strange.
yeah, I saw that. I saw that, and I
Okay.
was like, maybe you are approached already for, if the remake is happening
So
at all, then you must have been approached for it.
it
But
was just, like one of your followers says that, please, sir, aisa humne, and, I really thought he had put in a lot of sincerity into making it. So I just
hmm.
put it on.
It's a very sweet video. I saw that. It's one of your recent posts only. And since you
It's
talked
the
about
last post.
Welcome
It's
3,
not recent, it's been about 7, 8 days, but it's the last post. In
okay,
fact, as I looked at it, it's got a pretty
good numbers.
good numbers, yeah. So
Yeah.
obviously, whoever did it did a nice job.
Hmm. And since you talked about Welcome 3, I want to know the kind of role that you'll be playing in Welcome 3. What can be
I
expected?
can't talk about it, ma'am. See, ma'am, now it's very clear. The thing is that it's strange that, but that's how the contracts have become. Everything
Hmm.
is, confidential. There's a confidentiality agreement that you sign.
Hmm.
And right from day one, I've not been the kind of person to get any eyeballs. जो है वो है, जैसा रोल है आ जाएगा. अगर
But it's
अच्छा
a
करेंगे आप.
massive, massive cast. A lot of celebrities
That is
coming
fine. I am
coming
not
on board.
responsible for it, ma'am. The producer is responsible for it. So these questions should be addressed to him. I'm just playing what I'm supposed to play.
You are
I can't
keeping
talk
it
about
under
it.
the wrap.
Not under the wraps. See, it's like when you're doing a job right now. You're
Yeah.
working for headlines, right? Did
Hmm.
you break whatever the norms headlines is imposing on you?
Definitely no. No, definitely
Because you
not.
will lose your job or
Hmm.
you'll get headlines a bad reputation.
Yeah.
Why would I want to get a bad reputation to a producer who gave me Avara Pagal Devana in the very first years of my life, or even
Hmm.
otherwise? Even if he's of
Hmm.
no consequence and he's a smaller person, why would I want to do that?
Right.
Right?
ठीक है.
It's,
Fair
it's
enough.
a wrong work ethic. That's it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And talking about the kind of roles that you have played so far, Rahul, because you have played a massive number of characters, okay? So which one has been the closest to your heart, and which one would you say was the most challenging role that you have played so far?
Yeah, I think the first film's always closest to your heart. It was something called Dust, which never saw light of day
Hmm.
because you prepared for it and a lot of work went into it. We shot a big schedule in it. The late Mukul Anand, who made extraordinary films like, Hum, Khuda Gawar, Agnipath, all of them had the legendary Mr. Bachchan in the main
Hmm.
lead. It was a magnum opus from that time. It had Sanju, Salman, it had the late Vinod Khanna Saab. So it had a great star cast and it was the main antagonist. The burning of the Chirare Sharif had happened in India and it was a chap who burnt it called Mastful, who sort of resembled my face when we did the whole look test for it. And we went to Moab, Salt Lake City, Utah, America, to
Okay.
film the first outdoor 40 days. They put up a scalable set of the Chirare Sharif in those days, which is the mosque in Kashmir. They shot because
Oh,
Kashmir was out of bound for shooting that time.
yeah.
It
Okay.
was those days, remember?
Hmm.
So I'm talking about the 90s, late 90s is when I started filming. And then,
Hmm.
of course, Champion came out as my first release. It was, again, a mainstream format film.
Hmm.
And from there on, the journey began because, that had a lot of acknowledgement in my time because I was the so-called, one of the supermodels the country had. They were not supposed to be good actors, you
Hmm.
know. They were always written off. A lot of people would even think कि यार ये हिंदी भी बोल पाएंगे नहीं बोल पाएंगे क्या जुबान में बात करते हैं अंग्रेजी में ज्यादा बात करते हैं all of that kind of where all that came from. And I remember somebody from my time, Madhu Sapre, she could hardly speak English, and she was a famous model. Uh,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
so she was the one act. I mean, her thing was Marathi. She was Maharashtrian. So she took great pride in that. So be it. So ऐसा कुछ था नहीं बट ऐसा एक माना जाता था एक सोसाइटी के अंदर कि
Hmm.
इनकी पता नहीं कौन सी दुनिया होती है ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं है एक्चुअली हर कोई वही हार्ड मास का बना होता है वही इमोशंस का बना होता है जैसे आप अगर एक जर्नलिस्ट हैं
Hmm.
आपका काम है कुरेदना और सवाल ऐसे करना जिनमें कुछ ऐसा है जो आपकी कॉपी इंटरेस्टिंग बने तो उसी
Hmm.
तरह मेरा काम कुछ और है कलाकार का है अलग अलग सेट्स पे जाके अलग अलग लोगों को रिप्रेजेंट करना और जो मेरा डायरेक्टर चाहता है उसको एक दिशा देना और उसको एक विजन देना एंड पार्टिसिपेट इन द स्टोरी टेलिंग प्रोसेस so once you've agreed upon something then I think it's always best to then I mean for me my end all is the director after that
Hmm.
end all unless you instinctively feel that it's a very open director which happens a lot now that you can interpret it in your way the same scene without changing too much of it or improvise if he's okay with improvising and sometimes that works so first films simply purely because you moved from Delhi to Bombay you're married and you don't know where your second job is going to come from. You were comfortable there. You were at the top of the industry, which is a certainly different industry. So you
Hmm.
even more to lose because Femina had put you on the cover, the Society had put you on the cover, whatever the magazines of any consequence were there in India at that time. He was the cover boy. Times had put me on the cover several times. Your channel had interviewed me a few times, but all in the capacity of being model, supermodel, whatever that category is. So for me, it was like a livelihood, right?
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, you can't take all these things seriously. अरे आज है कल नहीं है वैसा वाला होता है जिंदगी है ना?
Hmm. बिल्कुल,
तो
बिल्कुल.
तो बस बाकी यही है कि यार it was livelihood and you don't know at that time that ये 100 फिल्में आप पार करेंगे या 2000 में आपको पता नहीं है कि 2023 में आप काम कर रहे होंगे नहीं पता
Hmm.
होता ना because whoever was ahead of me, like say Deepak Malhotra was senior to us.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
might not remember him, but he was in Lamhe. He had a great entry. He was opposite Sri Devi, and वो एक जुबान में बस पल्लो बोला था उन्होंने. and the
Hmm.
world came tumbling down. It whole crashed. The whole image of Deepak Malhotra, the Vimal man, and this, that, and the other crashed because आवाज उनकी उतनी strong नहीं थी.
Hmm. Hmm.
But ऐसा लगता है कि किसी भी फिल्म के अंदर जो फाइनल कॉल होता है डायरेक्टर का होता है.
Hmm.
और बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि लोगों को डब किया जाता है. मैंने तकरीबन 33 फिल्में तेलुगु में की है, एक ही खुद डब की है, बाकी 32 फिल्में किसी और ने डब करी है. It has had some
Okay.
legendary directors. I've worked with Rajamouli, Simadri.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've
Hmm.
worked with Mr. Sri Vikram Srinivas Rao. Uh,
जी.
uh, I've worked with Mr. Prabhu Deva in Munna, sorry, in Purnami. So I've worked with Mr. Lawrence in Mass, who made Lakshmi Bomb here with Akshay. So, all these are South Indian film directors, but
Hmm.
they're all mavericks in their own right.
Hmm.
My era saw a lot of genius stuff coming from Mr. Ram Gopal Verma, who
Hmm.
was also his Hindi is not the strongest, but because cinema has a visual and it's an audiovisual sort of
Communication problem. Yeah.
so it has a language and it also has a strong visual first, and then the
Hmm.
language to support whatever is going in the story way. As long as
Hmm.
your writers are good, he had the great fortune also and the foresight because he made
Hmm.
Anurag Kashyap. He gave him his first breaks as writer, so on and so forth. Like not the first, but so a whole lot of geniuses came together. You know,
Yeah.
and to make those
Definitely.
beautiful movies. His cameraman have been special. He himself has a terrific visual sense.
Hmm.
तो यार आपके इस सवाल का तो जवाब यही है कि जो पहली फिल्म है ना वो सबसे इसलिए करीब हो जाती है कि उसके बाद आपको पता नहीं होता है कि क्या करें.
Hmm. Hmm. You
You know,
just grow. You
you,
just grow
you
with the
don't
time.
know whether you will be accepted. First of
Hmm.
all, I mean, let's look at it this way. You don't know
Hmm.
whether there will be an acceptance, a job too for you.
Hmm.
I mean,
But
I don't know
you
that
have
time.
done so many antagonistic and negative roles. I just have to ask you this. But I want to understand from an actor's perspective that when you play so many roles of this kind, like antagonistic role, is there any kind of a block that you feel has been
It is
created?
boring after a while. Boring हो जाता है. But क्या है कि उस टाइम पे दौर आज का नहीं था OTT.
Hmm.
I mean, now thankfully to this, like Nikhil Advani gave me an opportunity to go the other way. He gave me Wazir Khan in The
Hmm. Yeah,
Empire.
yeah, yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
But then, how many people actually watched The Empire? I can't say. Like,
Hmm.
for example, say a Navara Pagal Divana or a Champion or any of these films, because they're
Hmm.
mainstream releases and they're mainstream format commercial releases. See, one thing you have to always understand that the mainstream commercial films,
Hmm.
I mean, the business numbers don't lie. If a certain
Hmm.
film has done 1,000 crores or 500 crores or 600 crores, 700 crores, 300 crores, 400 crores, those are
Hmm.
real numbers. Now, if those real numbers mean anything, which means
Hmm.
that out of this 135 crore people, a whole lot of people actually saw the film.
Yeah.
Are you getting
Hmm.
it? So it's not restricted to a certain platform only, which is going to be enjoyed by certain people, whether
Hmm.
that platform is affordable for them as their third or fourth choice or their first choice. Can't say. Like how many people actually subscribe to, say, Netflix, which is doing some great stuff, or to Amazon, which is also doing some great stuff, or to say
Hmm.
Hotstar, which is also doing some great stuff. How many people? So we can't presume the most of India will look at, I mean, you might be educated and you might look at cinema in a certain way. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
But uh, the thing is, it's such a diverse country. What
Hmm.
the rickshaw puller there, or what the
Hmm.
coolie over there, and his vote is as equal to yours. When you all cast a vote, his vote and your vote has equal standing.
Definitely. Yeah.
Are you
Hmm.
getting it? So,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
because it's a democracy, that's only fair. Because
Hmm.
everybody doesn't get the opportunity to get educated. Everybody has different opportunities life throws up.
Hmm.
So you have to look at everybody, and that's why a lot of films which might not be agreeable to a lot of, say, so-called critics,
Hmm.
uh, have numbers which make them the laughing stock.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because also you have to understand each of these peripheries. So suppose you report in entertainment.
Hmm.
Suppose, and I don't know what you report on, but I'm presuming suppose entertainment is something that you also report on.
Right. Right.
You've also been selected there in
Hmm.
that job because there is entertainment to report on.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's the business of entertainment that you're reporting on. And of course, there'll be personalities which will be there. Sometimes there'll be directors, actors, producers, the whole cast, depending
Hmm.
on what the format is allowing.
Hmm.
So I think for a critic, if there is no movie to be critical of,
Hmm.
they'll not
Hmm.
be holding a position. Whatever commerce is coming their way out of that stops.
Hmm.
Are you getting it? And
Right.
also, people should also acknowledge one thing. What are we in for?
Hmm.
We are in the business of the movies. I mean, for me, if a producer is giving me a paycheck
Hmm.
and everybody is getting paid on the set, including the set boy, so I
Hmm.
don't know who gets paid the least, but whoever, somebody must be getting paid the least, and
Hmm.
is getting paid the most.
Hmm.
They're getting all of those figures for their livelihood simply because their value of the craft. अगर कोई
Hmm.
कलाकार है, उस कला की एक वैल्यू है. वो
Hmm.
कला वो दे रहा है वहां पे, उसमें योगदान दे रहा है, किसी ने उसमें विश्वास किया, somebody put their trust in them, they took them. So this is the hard fact. So I don't
Hmm.
think we should sway away too much from it. And once I think anybody, and I think my role model in that sense is Mr. Bachchan, whatever interviews you hear of him, he
Hmm.
gives full trust to the director. See, once you've agreed, na, nobody
Hmm.
likes grumpy actors over there. कि यार ऐसा क्यों
Hmm.
वैसा क्यों ये क्यों वो क्यों. It's all very well to discuss all of that when the story is being told.
Hmm.
Are you getting it? Then
Right.
once you're there, you it has to be a very you have to really embrace it as
Hmm.
a holy book,
Hmm.
literally,
Hmm.
and offer your best send to that.
Right. Hmm. And since you talked about Amit ji also, we know that you're very fond of Shah Rukh also. You have been the classmates. You have talked about the
I
past.
have not, ma'am. All your facts are totally wrong. I have not been his classmate. He's my senior from
You're the
school.
batch, like you guys share a very good past. You talk about him very
No, not
fondly.
really. See, it was. I happened to be in the same school.
हाँ
He's my
हाँ.
senior. He won the Sword of
अच्छा
Honor.
अच्छा. Okay, he's
Okay,
your
so
senior.
when anybody wins the Sword of Honor in school,
Hmm.
it means that they are inspirational for everybody else, right?
Hmm.
Is it or no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So my only interactions with him were limited to the cricket field because we both happened to be in the
Okay.
same cricket team for the school. So he was,
Oh.
but yeah, everybody would know of him in the school because he was
Hmm.
just brilliant. He was a brilliant academician, all academics. He was
Oh.
brilliant at dramatics, and
Mm-hmm.
he can easily, like I remember filming with Mohanlal. I had the pleasure of working in two different films with him. So I asked him that, sir, when did you start acting? He says ever since in class 5 he won the best actor in his school, Mr. Mohanlal.
Mm-hmm.
And same goes for Mr. Bachchan, from Sherwood. Like whenever he's told stories, the famous measles stories, so they've been acting right from. So that's your first ground, so to say. Same
Hmm.
for this man. I mean, I remember watching him in The Wizard of Oz or The Smike, whichever musicals the school did, he was the main part always. So it's no surprise, you know what I mean, to reach that. So it's simply it's like I'm a little objective about things here. I mean, this is
Hmm.
how life is. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
it's like how earnestly you do a job. You be an engineer, be a doctor, be an actor, be a journalist, be whoever. The more detailed and more honest you lend to your job,
Hmm.
uh, it will bestow upon you uh, something special. That's all.
Lovely. Rahul, that was the end of segment one. But in segment two, I have a rapid fire round question for
All right.
you. I have lined up some questions for you, just very quick answers for them as well. My
So,
first question is, what's your favorite movie of all time? Not yours, but anybody else's also. One movie that you can watch again and again.
यार वन मूवी तो कहना मुश्किल है बट शोले इज समथिंग वेरी वेरी क्लोज टू माय
Bah,
हार्ट.
classic.
क्लासिक है ना. बट
Yeah,
वैसी और भी कई फिल्में हैं बट शोले राइट नाउ कम्स टू माइंड. It's really
okay.
special.
Amazing. What's the most... Acha, theek hai, I've already asked you this question. ठीक है. Now you have also talked about the OTT, right? So if you
हम्म.
get a chance to choose between OTT and silver screen, what would you choose?
ऐसा थोड़ा ना होता है यार, अगर किसी के दो बच्चे हैं When you choose one over the other, you can't. It's a livelihood, yeah. I mean, I would love to work in that and that because both offer me different things. OTT offers
Hmm.
me sometimes jobs that I'm looking at in terms of creativity. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because वो
Yeah.
commercial का वो दायरा नहीं रहता है कि उसको 100 करोड़ करना है.
Hmm.
एक ये रहता है कि यार चलो एक सिंसियर कहानी बनाते हैं और
Hmm.
देखते हैं
Hmm.
फिर क्या होता है ना. कहानी में डेप्थ होती है, कहानी की जो लाइनें होती हैं वो थोड़ी नेचुरल हो जाती हैं. वो
Hmm.
कहानी की लाइनें ऐसे नेचुरल हो जाती है, वो लगता है कि आम तौर की जिंदगी में ऐसी भाषा में बात कर रहे हैं. वो वाला
Hmm.
नहीं होता कि दरवाजा खटखटाता है लड़का और कहता है माँ मुझे बहुत भूख लगी है, कुछ खाना दे दे, तेरे हाथ का खाना खाना चाहता हूँ. देयर इज नथिंग लाइक दैट, which is a little corny line. Nobody
Hmm.
says that in real life, at least nobody I know says that. I've never said that in real life to my mother. I don't know
Hmm.
whether you said that, so you can analyze it for yourself. But ये लाइन बहुत पॉपुलर लाइन है फिल्मों के अंदर.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I mean? So you're trying to offset unnatural line by making it sound natural.
Hmm.
तो
ठीक है.
फॉर एन एक्टर ना तो थोड़ा उसमें क्या हो जाता है कि एक नॉर्मल बात हो रही है, जैसे आपकी और
Hmm.
मेरी नॉर्मल
Hmm.
आम जिंदगी की बातें हो रही हैं, तो ऐसी बातें होती हैं. तो ऑफ कोर्स विद सम ड्रामा डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट द काइंड ऑफ स्टोरी है. सो you feel more see in the end when you train for being an actor.
Hmm.
ऐसा कहा जाता है भाई 9 रस है, ये है वो है. तो 4 W's बनाने की एक एक्सरसाइज होती थी, हु व्हेन व्हाई व्हाट.
Hmm. 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 Yeah.
तो हु मतलब कौन है आप,
Hmm.
व्हेन मतलब किस मुकाम पे उस कहानी के अंदर, और
Hmm.
कहाँ
Hmm.
से कहाँ तक आप उस कहानी में.
Hmm.
व्हाई मतलब क्यों,
Hmm.
क्यों कर रहे हैं आप वो काम, है ना.
Hmm.
और व्हाट मतलब कि किस वजह से कर रहे हैं. तो जब ये 4 चीजें आप किसी भी कैरेक्टर को लेके आंसर कर पाएंगे ना, जो कि कई बार नहीं हो पाता प्रैक्टिकली क्योंकि
Hmm.
फॉर्मेट अलाउ नहीं करता है. अभी एक मेन स्ट्रीम डेविड धवन की फिल्म, उसमें
Hmm.
अगर आप ये 4 चीजें बनाने जाएंगे तो
Hmm.
थोड़े मुश्किल में आ जाएंगे. उसमें क्या है, एक एंटरटेन करना है आपको, एंड वो डायरेक्टर भी बहुत क्लियर है. So he's had some tremendous successes. In fact, I'll tell you, it's very, very maverickish to direct those kind of movies because it's so difficult. Imagine, आपको कैसे पता कि गाना ऐसा होना चाहिए वैसा होना चाहिए, because it's a lot of hit and try. Rohit Shetty again, another genius. You know, it's very, very. Sometimes I imagine यार कैसे create करते हैं. You know, it leaves me really astonished. See, because it's not logic driven. Are you
Hmm.
getting it?
Hmm.
You're putting the story in a certain peg. कई बार
Hmm.
एक डायलॉग आपने लिखा है एक्टर्स के लिए, आपको समझ में भी नहीं आता कि ये चलेगा या नहीं चलेगा. मोकैम्बो खुश हो गया, मोकैम्बो खुश
Hmm.
हुआ अमरीश जी का. अब वो किसको पता था कि चलेगा ऐसे,
Hmm.
कितने आदमी थे, किसको पता था कि ये कैसे चलेगा. So
Hmm.
a lot of times you don't know in terms of screenplay so it's always uh, so hats off to the producers, man, and to the directors and writers who all sort of put it together.
ठीक है. And if I tell you to choose a genre, what would you choose? Comedy or drama?
Drama, yeah, drama. I like drama. I
Okay.
personally watch a lot of drama also.
Lovely. And who's your dream director that you really want to work with?
Yeah, a lot of them have had the opportunity to work. I mean, I've worked with Santosh Sivan, with Mr. Rajamouli. A lot of them. अनुराग कश्यप यार रह रहे हैं मेरी लाइफ में से. तो
Hmm.
आई रियली वांट टू अगेन फिल्में छोटी बनाते हैं बट
Hmm.
मजा आता है देख के यार. बहुत अच्छा लगता है, बहुत बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा लगता है क्योंकि बातें थोड़ी असल होती हैं. चाहे ड्रामा, देयर बी समथिंग इन द स्टोरी व्हिच विल कीप यू हुक्ड.
Hmm.
Something that will drive you. It'll drive the performances normally are very extraordinary in those films. So
Hmm.
obviously it speaks a lot about the director himself. He's got a lot of depth. Probably.
Okay. Last but not the least, Rahul, as you know that Diwali is approaching, would you
Mhm.
like to wish our viewers in your manner?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? Hi, this is Rahul Dev, and here's wishing a very, very happy, joyous, and a Diwali full of light to all those people who are watching this.
Amazing, Rahul. Thank you so much for joining us for a conversation on CNN
Thank you
News
very
18.
much.
It
Thank
was
you.
lovely having you here. All the really best for the project you were
Thank you
talking
very much.
about.
And all the very
And of
best to
course,
you all.
and all the best for Welcome 3. I'm waiting. All of us are really waiting to see you on silver screen. Vapis se, jaldi jaldi. And hope we can have this conversation again once the release is done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, Rahul. Bye bye.